Yo, guys, welcome to the new podcast. This is the Gradient Show today with me, Tom. How you doing, man?
Good thing.
And how you doing at Full Time Focus? If you want to check him out on Twitter, how you doing, mate?
I'm doing good, mate. I'm doing well.
Do you want to introduce yourself a little bit? Because obviously you're quite new to the channel.
Yeah, so my name's Brad. As I just said there, I'm on Twitter at Full Time Focus, and I do a YouTube channel called A Matter of Opinion, where literally that's what it is. I pick a subject each week, and we discuss it once a week. If you check the link in my Twitter, you'll find it there. If you enjoy that sort of stuff, you can check through all the shows I've already done, and I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, so Brad is very kindly going to join us for some future Gradient Show episodes. Obviously, as I'm sure many of you are aware, I'm going away. So he'll be kind of, I guess, filling in for me. Tom will be back. Unfortunately, he is unavailable today. Back hosting the show very, very soon. And obviously, we have lots to look forward to with She-Hulk, Andor, and then obviously the Lord of the Rings TV series. Hopefully, we'll be doing that as well. So, yeah, first thoughts from you guys. I'll start with Brad. First thoughts on the latest episode.
I thought it was good. We got the pilot episode, and we all know what a pilot episode's all about. It's trying to keep it simple, keep you in the loop, and get you up to speed of a character that you may not know anything about. And they've sort of followed that pattern, because normally with some shows they kind of go, well, there you go, you had your pilot, you know what it's all about, and they chuck you in at the deep end. But they seem to be putting it on a slow burn, which is quite nice. And obviously we'll get to it at the end, but the ending was quite a good way to keep everybody interested. I think it's been quite a good episode.
Yeah, I agree. Ben, what are your thoughts?
Same as last week, just average. Yeah. Yeah. They're like, yeah. I mean, obviously, like, it's interesting, I guess. Like, we got the Can you hear that?
No, I can't hear anything.
Yeah, there's a buzzing on my mind.
Yeah.
Might be mine. Hang on a sec. Is it all good?
It sounds like it's stopped.
Yeah, just
yeah.
Are you saying?
Yeah, I was just saying, yes. I mean, obviously, but again, what is that? Yeah, obviously for Marvel fans and stuff like that, it was obviously quite interesting with Abomination coming back, and that sort of what do you call, like sort of interconnectivity of it, and like the sort of callback to, because it was like the second film that they ever did, like in the MCU sort of thing. But yeah, it's like the episode in general just average, basically. Yeah.
Fair enough. I mean, I think it will get more exciting as each episode goes, as more, fan service comes into play. Obviously, we've got Abomination. We know Daredevil's coming. We know Wong's coming. So I think Wong is coming in to be involved in the Abomination case, because obviously he was there when the fight happened, and obviously it's a very, as you said, Brad, very good way to keep people interested in the show, putting that kind of news article clip right at the end of obviously Abomination fighting in the Shang-Chi movie. And Marvel are kind of obviously still doing the everything is connected in some way or another, and the thing is, it's making people have to watch everything, and obviously that's for some people that's enjoyable, and for some people that's probably like, there's another thing I've got to watch now because it's connected to this, and then I've got to watch this to watch that, and things like that, which I understand. I mean, personally, that's fine by me. I'm happy to watch all of the Marvel shows. I don't know if you agree, Brad.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree, and it is. I also agree it's something that both Marvel and newish Marvel fans need to be careful of. And I think that's why maybe this is met with a bit less seriousness to it. You know, the breaking of the fourth wall that we've witnessed in the first 2 episodes, which they've done really well, in my opinion. I think they're keeping it a very bit simplistic, which is why I think, you know, you're not gonna suddenly, you know, you're not watching Endgame. You're not going to be sat here watching twists and turns in a 20-30 minute episode. And it's understandable that the first maybe 2, maybe even the next episode will be a bit, as Ben put it, average. But they've got to be a little bit careful, because you look at the Loki series, this one, and others that are in line and have been made. Like you said, they're all interlinking. You don't want to lose fans in the case of, oh, this is getting too complicated because I've now got to watch this before I go and watch this movie. And it's good, but they're sticking to what they know. You know, obviously the Hulk, so Abomination is an easy link in. So even if you've know nothing about She-Hulk and this is the first you've heard about a cousin who has these powers, and you've watched, say, maybe the Abomination in the Ten Rings movie, or you watch the Incredible Hulk, you're already then into going, oh, I've got a bit of interest in this and I'd like to learn about it. As long as they keep the balance right and don't overcomplicate it, I'm all for these sort of things being a part of the MCU universe. It's going to be a late night if you choose to binge watch them, though, because you'd be up for about 3 days, 4 days following the whole Marvel story this way.
Yeah, you would for sure. And I think there was like the fan service, not fan service, but the thing at the end of this episode, obviously with the news part, was it is quite self-contained. You don't have to have watched Shang-Chi to understand the reference realistically, because it is just Abomination was fighting Wong. I know a couple criticisms that I heard of with the new Doctor Strange movie was not everyone watched all of the WandaVision show, and also the quick switch from WandaVision, kind of, she was finishing and she wants to be better, and then she was just straight up a bad person. There were obviously criticisms with that, and I think that's more of a TV show to movie issue. I think the movie to TV shows is fine, but they got to be careful when they bring TV show to movies, because more people will be more inclined to watch the movies than they will necessarily to watch the TV shows. And obviously, this is quite a long series, so not everyone's going to watch all. Is it 9 episodes? I think it's 9 episodes.
It's either 9 or 11, isn't it? It's usually a number like that.
Yeah, so not everyone will watch all 9 episodes, and therefore you don't want to put anything too big. I think they are being careful with that. Anything too big in these TV shows, like they maybe did with the WandaVision stuff, and put it into a movie, because not everyone will see it, and therefore there will be criticisms. In terms of the actual show itself, do you guys think Abomination is actually reformed, or do you think he might be kind of playing the field and just trying to get out as best as possible?
I mean, it's an interesting one, because I mean, I personally haven't yet seen the Ten Rings, so from an outside looking and seeing it as a new perspective, he's a very good character as the Abomination, and again, if you know nothing about Abomination, which I only know through watching The Incredible Hulk as a kid and the movies and that that he was in, it could be a little bit of they're trying to see this familiar pattern with the Hulks, where the human maybe is remorse, maybe he is genuinely like the effects of being able to find his human form again and not being stuck in the Abomination. And maybe the way it's interpreted in the Ten Rings is they're allowing, instead of caging Abomination, which is the conflict we've seen with Bruce and the Hulk, you can't keep him caged up. You have to find a balance in your life, which is really what we're seeing as the main article for this show, is balancing being a Hulk and a normal day life as best you can. And maybe that's what they've interpreted, that Abomination goes to these worlds, has these fights to keep Abomination's thirst for fighting at bay, so that actually Bray Wyatt can have a normal life. It'll be interesting to see how it develops. Ready to see a turn maybe on the last episode where he reveals to be the ultimate bad guy of the show. There might be a chance for redemption. Be interesting to see them take that arc for me.
Yeah, for sure. And Ben, what do you think?
I mean, it's interesting because if I remember rightly, in Shang-Chi, he's like sort of seems a bit pally with Wong, doesn't he? So like,
Yeah.
maybe he's playing Wong, but I mean, if that's anything to go by, maybe he is like a little bit more reformed. But like you say, he might just be playing everyone and playing Wong in that scene. But yeah, he seemed like quite sort of like I say, like pally with Wong, but like you say, you don't know if that's genuine or not. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, just a facade. But yeah, no, it's yeah, okay. I mean, it's interesting from that point of view. Yeah.
Do you guys think, obviously, one of the main plots of this latest episode was She-Hulk losing her job because she is She-Hulk? Obviously, it's a very real kind of way of going about it, and probably is, unfortunately, what would happen in the real world until someone who just wants to make the most out of having almost like a celebrity attorney is basically probably using her to an extent to help with their cases. Yes, she is a very, very good attorney and lawyer, but I, I personally think she's probably being used by the company that she's just joined to be a face, to
Oh,
be kind of, I guess, a pawn for them to be able to get the big superhero cases, like supervillain cases, and therefore make more money and bring more attraction to their corporation.
oh yeah.
Do you think that could come into play later on, Ben?
I think it probably will be a point of sort of tension for in the show. I mean, I don't know how much they're sort of gonna sort of focus on that because it seems like they're focusing on things outside of that. But I mean, it very much is. I think they've made it quite clear that she's being used. Like because obviously there was like there was a scene where he was like talking to his assistant and like he was just like um, being a bit of an ass, basically,
Hmm.
being a bit of a dick sort of thing. So like, yeah, they've obviously they've made it very clear that she is being used. I mean, she knows that as well because already she was like sort of when she was talking and stuff, she was like saying about how the only reason she's got the job was because obviously she's She-Hulk, and it's nothing to do with like her actually being a good lawyer and being like a actually good at the job sort of thing. So yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that is fair. What do you think, bro?
I definitely think it's a main character arc for Jennifer herself, less so of the She-Hulk. I think it's very clear that these are going to be, a very underhanded and a very bit dirty law company. Not that there's many clean ones out there if you're talking law, but yeah, I think she's very accepting of it, and it's very self-aware of the situation she's got herself in, given everything that's happened. It is nice. I don't think there's too much need for a backstory to how she got into law. I'm kind of glad they didn't do what they normally tend to do, which is they take a side character that you don't see or hear a lot of, and they go, "All right, we're going to spend 4 episodes just making sure you know exactly how she did this and became that," because they actually introduced her in the 90s just as a very confident, very sassy attorney at law that was quite a celebrity like in that lifestyle, doing what she did, and you still see that in her actions and how she presented herself in the first 2 episodes. So to kind of have it as like a sub-side story, I guess, so you can almost like they're trying to separate the She-Hulk and Jennifer as two different storylines. So we're going to see the conflict that she maybe is going to deal with working for this sort of company, knowing full well that they're only paying her and hiring her for this gimmick, as they see it. She's not a superhero. She's not anything special. She's a gimmick that they can use to do their things. I mean, you instantly know you're in deep water and going to get in murky waters when the first case they give you is somebody who brutalized your cousin who just happened to be the Hulk. It's something you have to be very aware of, that you're going to get in trouble and be very careful of your steps. But I don't actually mind the fact that they're showing her maybe not at her best and not already at that point where she's been the Hulk for a while and she's used to it. I like the way they're trying to move both storylines forward and not make you forget too much. Because if you focus too much on the She-Hulk, you then lose the character development that you get for how she became this confident She-Hulk.
Yeah, and obviously She-Hulk is one of the few characters who actually came from the cartoons and went into the comics. Unlike most, obviously, comic book characters, she is one of the few, like Harley Quinn for DC, who was actually created for the cartoons and then brought into the comics, which is obviously a very interesting take. I think I've got that right. I hope I've got that right.
Really sad.
Also, last thing I want to touch on is obviously Josh Segarra is playing Pug, I believe is his name in it. Obviously, there's a little cameo there. Obviously, quite a famous actor to bring in for it. I'm pretty sure he's going to become a love interest in the future. I just wanted to say that. I don't know if you guys know much about Pug.
I'll be honest, no, it's the first thing I've ever known of him. Like I said, unfortunately, in a good way, because it shows how popularity grew. She came from side appearances in cartoons and then became the character. So some of her little soft details about in romance things, in that sort of things, probably very little known to most Marvel fans, unless you're truly diehard and you've got every comic of a character. You're not going to know that. So be interesting to see how that does develop. Those that maybe know her will be probably keen to see if they stick to that love interest part or if they'll change it up a bit. Because sometimes you do see that.
Yeah, so especially in Marvel, they do like throwing a twist in there, and obviously having he's quite well known in the TV show industry. Obviously, very big actor in summer. Like he's been in Arrow and stuff like that. You could see maybe they just throw a little spanner in the works and turns out he's evil. But I guess we've got many more episodes to find out. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys did enjoy this little analysis of She-Hulk episode 2. We certainly enjoyed it, I'm sure. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week for another episode of She-Hulk. Make sure to subscribe if you're new around here. Check out Brad at Full Time Focus on Twitter. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week. Cheers.